Mr. Ghalib.
Chairman Risch, Ranking Member Shaheen, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you. It is a great honor to be nominated by President Trump to serve as the U.S. Ambassador to the state of Kuwait. If confirmed, I pledge to work to advance the interests of the United States and strengthen the enduring U.S.-Kuwaiti partnership. Kuwait is a critical ally in a region of strategic importance to the United States. Our relationship is built on shared interest and mutual respect. It is my goal to deepen this partnership across various domains, including security, economic cooperation, political dialogue, and cultural exchange, all while ensuring our efforts directly benefit America. I appreciate the trust President Trump and Secretary Rubio have placed in me. We may come from different communities with different backgrounds, but serving and representing the interests of the American people is our ultimate common goal. We may also have different views about some topics, and that's normal for us as Americans. Otherwise, the First Amendment would be meaningless. Our greatest American values are freedom, democracy, and equality before the law. These values are essential and define our American identity. However, we know these values are not universal, and that billions of people around the world do not enjoy the rights and freedoms we have. We must therefore be practical and realistic in how to engage the world to advance U.S. interests. I believe my life journey is an inspirational one that defines what the American dream can look like. In December 1997, I came to the United States as a teenager, leaving my entire family behind in Yemen. The last words I heard from my dad while giving me a farewell hug were, "Son, you are now going to be the backbone of the family, so make us proud." When I arrived in the US, I had no choice but to start work immediately. My first job in the United States was in an auto parts factory. I understood the value of an education, and even with a demanding full-time job, I completed my last year of high school. I started college in 2001, wanting to study political science. My family, friends, and teachers advised me otherwise. They convinced me I had no future in politics in the United States due to my background and accent, especially after 9/11. I decided to go for medicine, and for 10 years, that's what I studied. I was the first in my family to graduate from high school, earn a few bachelor's degrees, seek master-level education, and a professional doctorate-level education in medical school, all of which happened without a social support system. My family and I are very proud of my journey, which started as a farmer in Yemen, to an auto worker, to a healthcare professional, to the mayor of my city, and if confirmed, to a U.S. ambassador to the state of Kuwait. This could not have been possible without the support of my family, especially my wife and 3 daughters who are watching me now and waiting to celebrate my confirmation. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all the people who came to support me from different states. And as I was looking and meeting them outside, they all almost are Democrats coming to support me. Isn't that interesting, Senator Shaheen? My pathway would not be possible in most countries, and I'm deeply appreciative of the incredible opportunities the United States has provided me with. Kuwait is a close partner for stability and security in the region. Kuwait holds 6 to 7% of the world's proven oil reserve, has one of the biggest sovereign wealth funds in the world, invests hundreds of billions of dollars in the United States, hosts the 4th largest overseas U.S. military presence, and is a significant humanitarian aid donor worldwide. If confirmed, one of my priorities as ambassador will be to enhance our security cooperation with Kuwait. The United States and Kuwait have a long history of military cooperation, and it's essential that we continue to build on this foundation. In line with President Trump's priorities, I will work closely with the Kuwaiti officials to ensure our joint efforts in counterterrorism, defense, security, and regional stability are robust and effective. Economic cooperation is another cornerstone of our relationship. The United States and Kuwait have a strong trade ties, but there is significant potential for growth. I will prioritize efforts to expand bilateral trade, investments, create jobs in the United States, advocating for a level playing field for U.S. business in Kuwait, and addressing any barriers to trade and investments will enrich both our economies. If confirmed, I will engage Kuwaiti officials to address Iran's destabilizing activities in the region. My utmost duty is the safety and security of the American people and service members in Kuwait. By working together, we can enhance our collective security and ensure that destruction and chaos caused by Iran does not jeopardize prosperity and security in the Middle East. I am committed to implementing President Trump's priorities and ensuring that our efforts in Kuwait align with broader U.S. foreign policy goals. I look forward to working with the members of this committee as well as with our partners in Kuwait to achieve these goals. Thank you for your consideration, and I welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ghalib. We're now going to do a round of questions, 5 minutes each, starting with myself and to Senator Shaheen and back and forth between the R's and the D's. Senator Shaheen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ghalib, I want to begin with you. And I think we all appreciate that you have a very inspiring personal story. But I am, as I said in my opening remarks, very concerned about some of the statements that you have made and, frankly, what appear to be anti-Semitic views. The local news outlet in your city reported in October of 2023 that you claim that reports of sexual violence committed by Hamas on October 7th were, and I quote, a campaign of lies and deception, and that there wasn't, quote, any evidence to support that these crimes occurred against victims. What's even more concerning is that when you met with my staff before this hearing, you didn't deny that you said those statements, which if that's true, I appreciate that at least you were honest about it, but you reiterated that you believed there was no evidence of sexual violence against victims of December the 7th. Now, as my staff relayed to you, there is well-documented evidence that I have seen personally, that Hamas terrorists deliberately used sexual violence against women and children. I was also disappointed to hear that you appointed an individual to the City Planning Commission who stated that the Holocaust was God's, quote, God's advanced punishment of the chosen people for the savagery they're committing today against the innocent Palestinian children and civilians. You called Saddam Hussein a martyr after Iran fired missiles at American troops in Iraq. And you liked the tweet that compared Jews to monkeys. Now, I appreciate what you said in your opening statement about one of the areas of greatness about the United States is that we allow freedom of speech and that we do have different views. But that's different than representing the United States government and the official policies of the United States government, particularly overseas. So how do you assure this committee, how do you assure Americans of all religions and backgrounds, both here and in Kuwait, if you are confirmed, that you will represent them equally, especially after those kinds of comments that you've made?
Thank you, Senator Shaheen, for these important points that I want to clarify. First, I would like to mention first that I totally condemn what happened on October 7, all kinds of abuses. What happened, conversation between me and your staff was like that I was not aware of some, that I have not seen myself stuff, but I told them clearly, I clearly condemn all kinds of abuses. And October 7 was a horrible day and a tragic day, and all the atrocities that happened after is because of that day. Now, let me be clear. As the mayor of my city in February of 2022, the second month I assumed the office, I passed a resolution that was passed unanimously to condemn anti-Semitism after the attack on the Jewish synagogue in Texas. And the Jewish community leaders came to me and thanked me, and they said to the news that this is the only city that passed a resolution without them asking us to do so. So that's how I represent people in my official capacity. Some of these social media posts were during as a private citizen, because I became the mayor in 2022, and I can assure you that the media was biased in translating these posts. They were misinterpreted, they were taken out of context, and I'm happy to go over them like I did with your staff and others to explain. In fact, there were some responses, even though I acknowledge I used between 2010 to 2020 as a private citizen to acknowledge every comment, even if it's directed to me. Doesn't mean that I agree with that. But as I was going through the comments, there was a comment that says, you can say this in your country, but not in this country. It wasn't translated by the media because they wanted to selectively make it look like I acknowledge the comment. But in fact, if you translate the responses, they will clearly indicate that I was against that. Yes, it was a bad habit to acknowledge every comment. Every post I had from 2010 to 2020, I used to acknowledge. That's a bad habit that I had. I agree. When it comes to Saddam, I was angry on the day of January 7, 2020, when our military bases were attacked by the Iranian and there was no response. I understand the president came out to say that they informed us before, so they wanted to have some credibility. But before I heard that, I was angry that our military bases were attacked without a response. And in a moment of anger, I complimented Saddam because he kept Iran in check. And probably that's the only positive thing he did in his life. He was no question, he was a dictator. He committed a lot of crimes, including the invasion of Kuwait. And if that description in a moment of anger offended anybody, I'm willing to apologize, especially to the Kuwaiti people. No, I'm not very adamant about it. And like I said, probably the only positive thing he did is to stop the spread of the Iranian regime ideology in the Middle East.
Well, Mr. Ghalib, I'm in politics. I understand. The press doesn't always accurately represent what we say. However, that doesn't explain the comments you made to my staff, nor the direct quotes from your hometown news outlet about sexual violence on October the 7th. The fact that you represented to my staff that there was no documented evidence of that just shows to me a lack of recognition of what was going on. And as I said, as a private citizen, it's fine for you to have those views. I don't agree with them. I think they're abhorrent, but those are your views. But it's very different when you're an ambassador representing the United States of America, particularly in a country that Saddam Hussein invaded when he was the dictator in Iraq. For you to call him a martyr is unacceptable.
Well, thank you, Senator. Again, let me just explain that I condemned all the atrocities and abuses that happened on October 7. The only reason I did that, and I think it was in front of the protest in front of my office, is because President Biden, in a statement, talked about beheaded babies and stuff. And I truly...
I don't want to hear you're blaming President Biden or anybody else for those statements. I'm out of time. And I'm sure that my colleagues on the panel will also give you an opportunity to further explain your statements. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Shaheen. Senator Ricketts.
Well, again, congratulations to all of our nominees and your willingness to serve our great nation and your families who also serve alongside you as you serve our nation. So thank you to them as well. Across the world, I'm going to pick up a theme here from Senator Shaheen. Across the world, anti-Semitic violence is surging at levels that we have not seen in decades. The Combat Anti-Semitism movement recorded 13,339 anti-Semitic incidents worldwide between October 7, 2023 and October 1, 2025. Synagogues have been vandalized in Berlin, Warsaw, and Rouen. In Manchester, worshippers were murdered while observing Yom Kippur. 2 Israeli embassy staffers were killed here in Washington, D.C. in May. And Jewish students have been physically attacked across college campuses for expressing their support for Israel. This is a global crisis. We cannot tolerate anti-Semitism. President Trump's vision for the Middle East is one of historic progress, a vision rooted in peace, stability, and the inclusion of the Jewish state as a legitimate and permanent partner in the region. We don't combat and stamp out anti-Semitism, I fear, for this vision. Mayor Ghalib, in 2023, you refused to condemn a local candidate who compared Israel's actions to the Holocaust. Do you believe it's appropriate to equate Israel, a democratic ally, defending itself from terrorism with the Nazi regime that systematically murdered 6 million Jews?
Thank you, Senator, for that important question. And I actually wanted to clarify that point for Senator Shaheen, if you like to hear that. That person is a volunteer in the Planning Commission. I did not. He's not an official employee with the city. He's been volunteering for years, even with the prior administration. And I clearly said to the media that I condemned what he said, and I don't agree with him. But it's a volunteer position that they meet once a month. And I, as a mayor, my position is an honorary position because it's a city manager system. Everything I do is subject to approval by the city council. I don't have the absolute power to fire or hire without the approval of the city council. But I clearly told the news that I don't agree with what he said, and I totally condemn that.
Senator McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member. Thank you to our witnesses today for your willingness to serve. Mr. Ghalib, I was a member of the 82nd Airborne Division that actually helped oust Saddam Hussein from Kuwait. You referred to Saddam Hussein sympathetically as a martyr, which has some significance given that you'd be the United States' highest-ranking diplomat in Kuwait, a country that was invaded by Saddam. How do you justify calling Saddam Hussein a martyr to us, but also to the people of Kuwait?
Thank you, Senator. I explained earlier that post was in January 7, 2020. I was a private citizen before. It wasn't in my official capacity, and it was the day when the American military bases in Iraq were attacked by Iran. I was angry that we did not respond to the Iranian regime. And so in a moment of anger, I recalled and complimented Saddam Hussein for keeping the Iranian regime in check. And I said earlier that probably in his career, that would be the only positive thing he did, and the only thing I would agree with. That, no doubt, he was a dictator. No doubt the invasion of Kuwait was a crime, was a violation of the international law. And for those who are offended by that, and those who suffered from Saddam or lost loved ones, I apologize. I'm not very adamant about describing him like that. But like I said, it was a moment of anger. I know he did a lot of atrocities to his people.
Good. Let me move on to my second question. As a mayor, you repeatedly targeted American ally Israel through your support of boycott, divest, and sanctions movement against Israel, and you called for Israelis to, quote, leave the land, unquote, thereby supporting the end of the state of Israel. So my question to you, given the role you are being nominated for, do you accept President Trump's view that Israel is and should be the national home of the Jewish people?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Let me make it clear that the BDS movement resolution was drafted by a Jewish attorney who is part of the...
This question is, do you agree or do you disagree with President Trump's view that Israel is and should be the national home of the Jewish people? Just a yes or no.
Well, thank you, Senator. That, I think at this point we have a peace plan that everybody in the region agreed on.
There's no yes or no. Do you agree with the President's position or not?
I think we can coexist in the region, and that's the answer, that everybody has the right to exist now.
Well, no, that's not the President's position. Do you agree with the President's position?
I trust the President's policies, and I will support his policies.
Okay, let me move to my third question. Yeah. And I want you to take a minute and really try to explain this to me. In 2025, so this is this year, you liked a Facebook comment referring to Jews as, quote, monkeys, unquote, who levy taxes on the, quote, the air we breathe, unquote. Now, I heard you say before that you have this habit that you acknowledge all of the posts, but I don't totally understand that. So could you please provide an explanation for the rationale of liking this comment, and do you agree with that comment?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. First of all, let's correct the misinformation. It's very disturbing. That comment was when I was a private citizen about 6 or 7 years ago. It wasn't this year. It was under a post that I posted as a private citizen, and part of my bad habits of acknowledging reading those posts. But in the responses, I told the guy, you cannot say this in the United States of America. You can say, the media did not translate that response. So it wasn't to 2025. That's misinformation. And just by making assumptions and judging my intentions based on social media posts in the past, I would recommend that you look at the facts and judge my actions.
I'm asking for the facts. So would you like to clarify? Do you agree with that statement?
No, definitely, I totally disagree.
And how would you respond to the fact that you liked it in the moment? What is your response to that specific comment now? At
that moment, I responded that this is not appropriate to say this, but in my official capacity, I responded in 2021-22, in the second month of assuming the mayor office, by passing a resolution to condemn anti-Semitism, and that was complemented by the Jewish community. That's how I perform in my official capacity, and I represent everyone. And at the end, I'm a Semite. The Arabs are Semite. Do we read history? How can we be anti-Semite? And I think, like I said, judge my actions and not my intentions, because we have to lay down the facts. You know, Senator Shaheen earlier said that I hired someone after he said, no, that guy has been serving in the city for the past...
Thank you. I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ghalib, I don't think you are qualified to serve in this role, and I think that you have dug your hole deeper today. In response to Senator McCormick's pretty simple question, you refused to support maintaining Israel as a home for the Jewish people. I just don't know how we send an ambassador to the Middle East that doesn't support protecting Israel as a home for the Jewish people. I also just want to make sure that you're being, well, I mean, Senator McCormick asked, you can answer it again, but Senator McCormick asked you that question 3 different times, and you had ample opportunity to state that you believe that Israel should be protected as a home for the Jewish people.
Can I clarify that now?
I mean, I think it's pretty important to understand your views on this. Pretty stunning that you weren't able to answer that question 3 times when asked by Senator McCormick.
Well, I supported the president's plan, which means that there would be a solution.
It doesn't matter to me whether you support the president's plan. Again, this idea that your personal views don't matter is ridiculous. Do you believe that Israel should be protected as a home for the Jewish people?
I believe that, and I believe it can be a home for the Jewish and the Arabs and the Muslims and the Christian as well. And that's why it's a diverse land for the 3 major religions. I think they can coexist, all the nations in the Middle East, based on the peace plan of President Trump that I support strongly.
I just want to ask you to present something to the committee. You've been asked questions today about your refusal to condemn this outrageous statement by a member of your city government. The statement, again, is the Holocaust was God's advanced punishment of the chosen people for the savagery that they've committed against the innocent Palestinian children and civilians. You were asked to comment on this. You refused to comment on it. I think that's disqualifying in and of itself. But in earlier questioning, you said that you did condemn it at the time. We have seen no evidence of that.
You know, Senator,
so is there evidence that you condemned that at the time?
I did tell the media that I don't agree with them and I condemn. They were concerned about disciplining.
And there's evidence of that? You could present this committee with those media reports?
You know, I would, and I say it now, let me be clear. I condemn that and I disagree with them. Their concerns was to why didn't I fire him? He's a volunteer in the planning commission.
I'm simply asking you, we have not seen any evidence that you publicly condemned that post. If you have claimed that you did in a public way. So
I did disagree with him.
I'm simply asking you to submit that information for the record because we have not seen that.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Murphy. Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Mayor, I want to ask you about another one before moving on to other witnesses. In a Facebook post that you put up in November of 2023, you praised the actions of Houthi rebels in hijacking and kidnapping the crew of the cargo ship, the Galaxy Leader, and noted, quote, the kidnapped ship doesn't fly the Israeli flag, but it's painted completely with it, blue and white colors only, close quote. Do you continue to support actions by the Houthis, who are a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization, in kidnapping innocent merchant sailors and disrupting shipping in the Red Sea?
Thank you, Senator, for that important question. You know, if you go over my social media since 2011, you would know how strong opponent and how much I disagree with the Houthi to the point where I cannot travel to Yemen. I'm in their blacklist. I mean, it's so.
So are you denying that you posted a Facebook post celebrating the kidnapping by the Houthis of the particular crew of this ship, the Galaxy Leader?
I don't think it's a celebration. This is assumptions that's making. I disagree with attacking the ships and disrupting.
But are you denying that you posted what I just read to you?
I think there was a post, but it seems like it's taken out of context. Maybe I commented
All right, well, I'll share it with the colleagues before we take up your nomination in committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ghalib, I am concerned that your stated public positions are markedly in conflict with the views of President Trump and with the positions of the United States. So I want to spend some time talking about your views. Let's talk first about boycott, divestment, and sanctions of Israel. During your tenure as mayor, the Hamtramck City Council passed a resolution supporting the boycott of Israel, divestment from Israel, and sanctions of Israel. Do you support boycotting Israel?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. So, as a mayor, my position is an honorary position, and it's a city manager system in our government, city government. So, the Jewish Voice for Peace group drafted that resolution, came and convinced the city council to unanimously vote for that.
So you voted for it?
I didn't vote for it because I only vote if there's a tie. So it wasn't my idea, it wasn't my initiative. It was the Jewish Voice group.
Did you support it at the time?
I didn't support it. I didn't vote for it. It
Did you
wasn't my
oppose it?
idea.
Did you oppose it?
I didn't have to vote at the time. So
do you support boycotting Israel right now?
Senator, we don't have any companies that deal with Israel in our city.
Okay, with respect, you're not answering my question.
I don't.
As a policy matter, do you support BDS? Do you support boycotting, divesting, and sanctioning? Under your leadership, the city you were leading became the first American city in the whole country to pass a BDS resolution, and I'm asking if you support the policy that you put in place.
I didn't put it in place, and I don't support it, but it was, like I said, drafted
So your testimony here today is you do not support BDS, you do not support boycotting Israel, divesting from Israel, or sanctioning Israel.
Yes, sir. It was drafted by a Jewish attorney, voted unanimously by the city council.
All right, let's move then to the Abraham Accords. In August of 2020, you posted harsh criticism of President Trump's push to normalize relations between Israel and the UAE. You said that it was a threat to stability and a cause for mourning. Do you continue to oppose the Abraham Accords?
I don't recall writing that, Senator, but at the time, as you know, I was opposed to the president. Up until 2024, I was still not a supporter of President Trump until...
so you opposed President Trump. My question is, do you oppose the Abraham Accords? No,
Senator. I think there's a great opportunity at this time to have a growing momentum and to move with the President Trump peace plan. And there's a great opportunity that we can treat everybody fairly and accomplish regional stability, a long-term, everlasting peace, and get everybody involved in this.
So in this same post, you described Saddam Hussein as a martyr. Do you continue to believe Saddam Hussein was a martyr?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. This is the third time I'm asked, and as I said, I was a private citizen in 2020.
I'm just asking your views.
Yes, thank you. I will clarify that. It was the day of January 7, 2020, when our military bases were attacked by Iran. And in a moment of anger, because we didn't respond.
So I asked you about today. Do you continue to believe Saddam Hussein was a martyr today?
Senator, I don't think that, no doubt that Saddam was a dictator. And I said it earlier, if this offended anybody who suffered from Saddam, who lost a loved one, I apologize about that.
Okay, so you're not answering my question. Do you believe today that Saddam Hussein was a martyr? That's a yes or no.
I mean, I can say no. It wouldn't matter. He's in God's hand. He will get the treatment he deserves. I'm not.
All right, in August of 2020, you posted that the Muslim Brotherhood was an inspiration. Do you continue to believe the Muslim Brotherhood is an inspiration?
Thank you, Senator. I think a lot of my posts were written in Arabic and mistranslated. I believe that, you know, it's an ideology. It's not just a group of people. I disagree with a lot of things that they do. Some of them are extremists. Some of them are part of some governments in the Middle East. So I trust our government to do the research and
Okay, again, my question was simple and straightforward. Do you continue to believe the Muslim Brotherhood is an inspiration?
No, I'm not part of it. I don't believe in that. But if
Okay,
anybody
but you did post it in 2020. Let me ask you, how would you be able to serve as an ambassador if President Trump designates the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization? I have legislation to do that. I believe it is likely the Trump administration will designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood in Palestine.
I would trust the president, and if it's designated, I will be committed to implement President Trump's policies. I'm not, you know, I trust the president's policy, and if confirmed, I will be implementing the policies of the administration. I mean, I wouldn't go against the president and his policies.
Mr. Ghalib, I will say, from your long-standing public positions, it appears you have a deep-felt and passionate view about the Middle East, but it is a view that is in direct conflict with the policy positions of President Trump and this administration. I will point out also that, and you've been asked about this before, but it is really quite astonishing, that on Facebook, you liked a post that called Jews monkeys for their own benefit.
Thank you, Senator.
Why would you like a post that calls Jews monkeys?
Thank you. I explained that earlier. From 2010 to 2000, before I became the mayor, I used to have a bad habit of acknowledging every post, every comment under my post. Doesn't mean that I agree with it, just acknowledging. But there were a response under that was not translated or interpreted that says you can say this in your country but not in this country, which means that I did not agree with that post, even though I acknowledge it. I know it was a bad habit, but let me be clear. I don't agree with that statement, and I treat everybody with respect in my official capacity.
And let's be clear, the statement that you liked said they are all monkeys for their own benefit. So every Jew is a monkey.
I don't agree with that statement, Senator. And the person who wrote it is mentally challenged in our community. He is well known. I used to have this idea of inclusivity in my past, ideology. I changed in 2024. I changed even my party,
Mr. Ghalib, there may well be positions within the Trump administration that you are qualified to perform in that are unrelated to these issues that you have such passionate beliefs about. I believe your beliefs are sincere. I believe that when you became the mayor of the first city in America to pass a BDS resolution, it's because you believe in BDS. I disagree with you on that. That is contrary to the policy of the United States government, but you're entitled to have your own views.
But
what I do not understand is how you could possibly serve as a United States ambassador for President Trump in the Middle East when you have passionate views, including having been a vocal opponent of the Abraham Accords, the singular and most consequential accomplishment President Trump has negotiated, and your longstanding views are to publicly oppose the Abraham Accord.
Thank you, Senator. Let me be clear. I support the Abraham Accord, and I think there's a golden opportunity to get everybody involved in that. And let me be clear, in February of 2022, as the mayor, the first thing I did is to pass a resolution to condemn anti-Semitism. It's documented. That's what I perform in my official capacity. The other things, people are making assumptions based, trying to judge my intention.
I'm curious, would a statement like all Jews are monkeys, would that qualify as anti-Semitism?
Well, that's, somebody wrote it who's mentally challenged.
Now, my question is, does the statement all Jews are monkeys, does that qualify as anti-Semitism?
I don't agree with it, Senator.
Okay, you're not answering my question.
It's definitely anti-Semitism, but clicking on it doesn't mean I endorse it. It's
well,
just
actually, like means exactly that. When you like something, it means you like
Senator,
something.
Every post since 2010, every comment, because I used to have like 10, 20 comments, I used to acknowledge it, to read it, but sometimes I would respond under it to oppose it. And there was a response here that wasn't translated by the media that says, you cannot say this in your country. It wasn't translated. And when I met with Senator...
But that's not disagreeing with the statement that all Jews are monkeys.
But let me be clear now. I disagree with that. And
But you didn't at the time.
You are making assumptions, sir.
No, I'm asking. I'm not making an assumption. That's a question.
I did disagree at the time, and I still disagree.
Did you disagree publicly? Did you say a word of disagreement, or was your only public statement a like, which is the universal method of saying you like something and agree with it?
Everybody who asked me, I told them it doesn't mean I endorse it. It's just acknowledging reading it, but I am opposing that, and I make it clear now. I passed a resolution to condemn anti-Semitism in all forms or shape.
So... you mentioned earlier that the posts were in Arabic and they haven't been translated right. I have in my hands right now one of those Arabic posts on August 13th, 2020, and I have the English translation. Among other things, you talk about individuals who died in Egyptian prisons, and you said, quote, "They die to be etched on the pages of history, stained in positions that inspire generations and make millions of Brotherhood fans exposed to a global demonic campaign and unprecedented demonic media infliction. I have only seen such situations in the martyr Saddam Hussein and his companions. May God have mercy on them."
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I was talking about standing firm for the cause of a person. Doesn't mean I agree with him. I am a strong advocate of democracy in the Middle East. Yes, I was against the military coup, and I believe in democracy. That's the best value that we have, and we want everybody to enjoy that value in the Middle East. So I was advocating for democracy in the Middle East. Doesn't mean that I support certain group, but I support democracy. And
well, as I said, I think your longstanding views are directly contrary to the views and positions of President Trump and to the position of the United States. I, for one, am not going to be able to support your confirmation, and I want to enter into the record this post in both the Arabic and English translation. I ask that it be entered into the record.
It'll be entered into the record without objection.
Look, I think the facts here are quite clear, and your longstanding position is directly contrary to that of the President's.
Senator, if confirmed, I will be implementing President Trump's policies with no objections. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for your patience today, your participation, the answers that you provided to the committee. Before closing, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to add any letters of support the committee may have received to the record, and those will be admitted into the record without objection. The hearing stands adjourned.